This is Dr. Trash Bag, and today I'm going over update 1.2 for Total War Warhammer 3. This is great because I think it's just a few days ago where I went over the Total War Warhammer 3 roadmap and update 1.2, and then just a few days later, now we have the update 1.2. So, in this update, we'll be getting some bug fixes, some updates in terms of tech tree and unit stats, as well as a little bit of new content in terms of Regiments of Renown. So, let's get to it in this video. I'm going to scroll down to the actual um, information of the update. So first, the release spotlight with the new content is Regiments of Renown. So it looks like every empire is getting at least one unit of Regiment of Renown. And I remember reading somewhere that the Demons of Chaos are able to get all four of the Regiments of Renown. Now you might have to do something special in terms of favor for each god, but I believe it is possible to get all four. So let's get right into it. There's Grand Cathay, Empire that I love to play because I do like to play defensive type empires that have a good front line and good range and artillery. So I do like to play as the dwarves and as the Empire. So Cathay is one of my go-to empires for Total War Warhammer 3. So Grand Cathay, they get a Regiment of Renown, the Dune Dragons, Celestial Dragon Guard. These are elite heavy infantry capable of holding back the strongest of foes. The Dune Dragons utilize their magic halberds and magic resist armor to carve through demonic foes, sorry. In addition to their fine armaments, the Dune Dragons have the encourage attribute, inspiring their fellow Cathayans to greater feats of bravery. So yeah, that seems to be a pretty good frontline unit that can hold up against demons, which is one of their main enemies for Cathay, trying to hold that Great Wall Bastion there against Zeech. So that's pretty good to have magic damage and magic resist, because you're going to get a lot of magic with Zeech for sure. So the next empire is Khorne, and that is the Hellforge Host. Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne is the Regiment of Renown unit. They wield the fiercest of Khorne blades, so it looks like they're gonna possibly do a little extra damage or do something special with their blades. And then the Hellforge Host also bears heavier armor than those of lesser Bloodletters, making them a formidable line-breaking unit. Okay, so they're going to do more damage, and they're going to have more armor. That seems pretty positive. And with a Khorne-type army, you need to always be attacking and winning battles, so being able to automatically recruit a decent unit is going to be helpful going on, playing as Khorne now on. Let's see here. For Kislev, the Hearth Blades, they're a Zar Guard with great weapons. With blades blessed by the Kislev god of fire and hearth, the day has hearth blades cut through foes with flaming attacks that make them particularly strong against regenerating foes. So Kislev is just south of NURGLE, so I believe that would be a good unit to put in a army that is going up north to attack NURGLE or defending against NURGLE armies. Speaking of NURGLE, the next one is the Festering Stooges. I don't know about that name, but I do like to play as NURGLE. I find him fun to play as. I got my campaign here showing off. Go ahead and check out my channel if you want to see that playthrough. But the Exalted Plague Bearers of NURGLE, they are the Festering Stooges, are demons of NURGLE that truly exemplify the cycle of birth, death, decay, and rebirth, healing over time and restoring their numbers through their defensive abilities. This unit represents the pinnacle of Grandfather NURGLE's enduring infantry. So I believe what this is trying to say is it's going to be an Exalted Plague Bearers of NURGLE, probably with a little bit better stats, maybe even more ammo. But also the main thing that's making them different than other Exalted Plague Bearers of NURGLE is they have much better regeneration, even bringing up dead models for this unit. And so this would be a good unit to start out in the beginning of the battle and then pull them out and then have them regenerate and then come back in at the end to kind of seal the deal. That's great. Nurgle needs some help there, so I'm glad to see they're getting a good regiment of renown. For the Ogre Kingdoms, they're getting Powder Guts, they're Man Eaters, Ogre Pistols. These hardened mercenaries have spent so much time in the employ of Nolan that they have adopted some of the finest arms and tactics the Empire have to offer. Firing faster and with greater range and accuracy, these ogres are a significant threat to armored foes. So that seems like a really good unit, because what tends to really do well in this game is ranged units. And when you're increasing the fire rate and the range, it tends to do really well. So right now, it looks like the Ogre Kingdoms is kind of getting the best Regiment of Renown unit. Just from what I can read here. Of course, they don't have stats yet, but so far, the Ogres seem to have the best unit here. For Slaanesh, they have the Bringers of Beguilement, and they're Exalted Demoneters of Slaanesh. The Bringers, there are some of Slanesh's most relentless demons, never tiring due to the perfect vigor attribute, and entrapping the weak-willed with their rampage contract effect. Okay, so they'll never tire because of perfect vigor, and they can make an enemy go into rampage. Now, I think with a campaign, the rampage isn't as good, in my opinion. Maybe that's good for multiplayer. But yeah, that's all right. So for Zeech, they have the Blazing Squealers, Exalted Pink Horrors of Zeech. They're delivering a devastating range fire via their warp flame projectiles, and the Blazing Squealers also provide nearby friendly units with more ammunition, making them excellent linchpin for Zeech. All right, so Zeech is also getting a pretty powerful unit here, because having more ammunition, more shots you can take, more kills you can get. So this seems to be a pretty good regiment of renown. I'm not really going to go over the multiplayer. I personally don't like the multiplayer, but it looks like they are resetting the leaderboard. So y'all that are really into that, you have to rebuild up where you are in the leaderboard, I guess. Game, they have fixed what looks like to be 3 stability and performance issues, kind of reducing the amount of times that the game will crash or freeze or have your legendary lord stuck in a demon area here. It looked like Slaanesh Realm. Improved performance with shadow, splits with trees, yada yada. Okay. Fixed a cinematic. That's great. Okay, so here's something that's actually interesting. So they made an update to where your lords and even heroes, you don't have to unlock their mounts. It will just be unlocked once they reach a certain level. So this will allow your heroes and lords and legendary lords to have an extra 1 to 3 points to spend. Now, I know with my heroes, I pretty much have every point that I want, so this will just allow me to have 1 to 3 more points kind of in their bottom blue tier area. But yeah, it's definitely not bad. That way I can switch around mounts and try them out. Usually I don't spend a point on them, I just pick one mount that I think they'll do the best. For example, for NURGLE, I have them use that like Hornet or Fly unit, really helpful to have that speed, because NURGLE, you don't get too many fast units. Battle auto resolution, this is great. So this is going to reduce the issue of you're playing your campaign and you want to auto because you've already had 3 battles your turn, but if you don't do that 4th battle, you're gonna basically ruin the majority of your army. because the auto resolve, they were kind of making it to where you just tend to lose a lot of units. So they've reduced the difficulty in the auto resolution, especially in the hard and up. So hard, very hard, and legendary. So that should help the player reduce time while playing. You know, it allows you to make that decision if you really want to do that battle or not. If it's going to be a fun battle, I want to play it. If it's not going to be a fun battle, I'd rather auto resolve, honestly, because you know I don't have time to do an 8 hour live stream. You know, I have a few hours each week to play this game, and I still haven't even beaten this game. This is one of my playthroughs right here, but I only have 2 demon souls so far. I need to get all 4 and beat Bellicor. I still haven't done that yet. But really enjoying the NURGLE campaign. Let's see. Yep. AI behavior. So they've done a change to where the AI won't target human players as much. They'll more focus on the enemies that are right next door to their empire versus going through an enemy empire to get to a human player, which doesn't make any strategy sense. Usually you want to slowly expand that way. You don't want to go through an enemy empire to get to a different enemy empire to take out their armies and their settlements. So I think that's a great update. I think that would kind of ruin my gaming experience if it was obvious that there's some tomfoolery there. Unit responsiveness. This is the big one. I remember playing as Cathay, and I would tell my gunners to shoot, and they turn and they look at the enemy, and I'm just waiting there. I'm like, come on, guys, y'all need to shoot. Yeah, it was these iron hail gunners. Now, when they're shooting at an enemy unit, they go down fast. So these guys do a lot of damage, and I had them flanking an enemy, and they just weren't shooting. It was ticking me off. So yeah, now the range units will now correctly rotate and fire when ordered to shoot a target behind them. Range units should now reform properly after rotating to engage targets from behind them. So yeah, I think I told my my iron hail gunners to kind of like run to the left, turn, and shoot at the flank. And that was just too complicated for them apparently. And it was really maybe not like playing, honestly. Resolve issues that would prevent flying units from attacking Sentinel entity, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Reduce the delay before range units can fire volley. Beautiful, beautiful. Reduce the delay before range units can respond to issue commands after firing a volley. Great. Remove transition animations used by, yeah, these guys. Which resolved in overall reduction in their damage per second. This also increases the responsiveness when ordered to move after falling a volley. Okay. Implemented a partial fix for instances where units engaged in battle would ignore player-issued retreat orders and instead re-engaged in melee combat. We will continue to identify and make improvements for future releases. Okay, great. This is a great update. You don't want to be frustrated while playing a game. You want to have a challenge, yes, but then you want to flank the enemy, shoot into them, and feel like you are a strategy mastermind. You want to take on multiple armies or armies that have way more units than you and win and feel accomplished because of that. For example, this battle right here that's going on, I was not favored to win, but I was able to pull it off. I did have to slow down just so I could micromanage my spells and buffs and whatnot, but I was able to win, and you know, you have that feeling of accomplishment. It's great. Manual fire. This is like a multiplayer thing. Apparently, you could manual fire and being able to just kind of ignore reloading. I didn't even know of that bug. Interesting. General updates fixed an issue that would result in plagues failing to be removed. Don't remove plagues. That makes Papa Nurgle very angry. After changing the ownership of sequentially losing and inflicting army. Okay. Players will no longer receive achievements for recruiting greater demon units while playing as the demon prince. Rather, they must now be recruited when playing as respective gods faction. Interesting. Okay. Campaign. When previewing parts, the stats of the demon prince now properly consider arming effects in the calculation. Okay. The switch plagues rollout button is no longer available when it's not the player's turn. Oh, I didn't even know I could do that. Fixed an issue when preventing the final options in the demonic glory tree from unlocking upon meeting the prerequisites. Fixed an issue in which would prevent early game missions from properly awarding undivided glory when playing as a demon prince. Fixed an issue which allowed the player to continue earning glory in the monogod progression trees after dedicating to the uninvited. Seems to be a lot of items for the demon prince in this update, I've noticed. So skills, oh, well, that's because we're talking about the demons of chaos. Durher. Sometimes I'm a bit slow. So the corpulent carapace fixed issue, which did not apply the skill to the demon prince army. Yada yada yada. I'll let y'all read that if you'd like. We're just getting into the nitty gritty now. But yeah, they seem to be moving stats in the initial equipment just to the demon prince. So that way, when you start, you still have the same legendary lord, but then as you're adding in different equipment, he's going to be stronger overall. So the first few turns are going to be the same, but then you should be able to get him to be stronger than normal, or stronger than what it was before 1.2 update. So for campaign, Grand Cathay. Okay, yeah. In update 1.1, CA took steps to increase performance of Cathay overall, but CA felt it was necessary to take additional measures with the niche units that haven't quite solidified their place in the roster. Of special note are the crane gunners, yada yada yada. Yeah, so I think this is just kind of like a re-summarization of 1.1. So here in 1.2 for the campaign, the dispatch and add caravan buttons are now grayed out when the player doesn't own any settlement. Huh. Okay. If you don't own any settlements, aren't you basically you've lost? Anyways, battles. The Harmony icon will no longer block the cursor when the player is trying to target spells on the enemy force. Well, that's good. Fixed an issue where the ammunition effects of the Great Bastion buildings would not always apply while under siege. Oh, that's a good update. You definitely want your ammo during Great Bastion battles. Units. These all seem to be multiplayer things. Maybe it's how much units cost is most of them. But crane gunners increased armor piercing missile damage from 30 to 35, and jade lancers increased charge bonus from 48 to 55. I hope they're really not increasing that for the campaign. Well, there's a few things that got cheaper. Oh yeah, right here it says multiplayer. Okay, I feel better now. Although Cathay seems to be an empire where money usually isn't an issue, especially when you get some caravans going. More multiplayer thing, that's fine. Skills. Persistent fire for Mao Ying. Fix an issue where the unique skill would not apply to the crane gunner and the iron hail gunner units. Okay, that's good. Spells. Dragon's Breath. Reduce the damage per second from 28 to 21, so that's a debuff. Woozing War Compass. The mount spells are now treated as abilities with 2 uses each and no longer require winds of magic. That's nice, because usually every army, I have at least one spellcaster I'd rather just do the magic from them and then have, so these will just be extra, which is great. Celestial Comet got a big update. Reduce range damage. Oh, significantly. Dang. Reduce explosive damage significantly as well. And then reduce the projectile delay from 4 to 2. Okay, so it comes down faster, but basically it's doing half as much damage without reducing Winds of Magic cost. I'm not seeing anything with Winds of Magic. Huh. To me, that's a big debuff. Okay. So technology. Looks like a lot of technology items here. Improve winches. Fix an issue where the technology would not apply the bonus to Jade Warrior Crossbowmen. Okay. And then the following technology has been changed from their original function. Okay. So if y'all want to pause the video, go ahead and pause and then go ahead and read this. Seems to be little updates here and there. You know, adding an extra 10 armor, adding an extra 2% ammo. Okay, that's great. They're just little things. And then these, if you want to pause, these added extra bonuses to their existing benefits. Go ahead and pause here if you'd like to read those. If I read them all, then this video is going to be like an hour long. All right. And then the last few items here. Oh, wow. Okay. Ammunition for Sky Junk increased by 20%. And then the wadding cartridges increasing 15% for Grand Cannon units. Okay, cool. Very nice. So for Khorne, for the campaign, Khorne's Glare, Unholy Manifestation, fixed an issue which would result in the player's capital being raised if the target army was destroyed during the active period. Well, that's a good fix. Fixed an issue which would prevent exalted bloodthirsters who had previously recovered from being wounded from being recruited. Okay. Fixed a rare issue in which, upon losing the lord of a Khorne host army during the battle to occupy settlement, the settlement would not actually be occupied. Well, that's a good fix. I'm not going to go over the multiplayer things. It looks like multiplayer, but looks like some fixes here for units. Well, not fixes, but updates. Looks like all positive items for the most part. Some items becoming... Oh no, this is health. Okay. But yeah, if you want to pause and read those, go ahead. I need to start going through these a little bit faster. Technology, fix an issue where the tech would offer Vanguard deployment to all units in addition to the Strider for the Fleshhound unit. Okay. Then the following technologies have been changed from their original function. Go ahead and pause if you'd like to read those. Looks like we're just adding just a little bit here and there. You know, going from +6 to +10 for bonus versus large, for example. You know, little things. I mean, it all adds up. And then here, the following technologies have noted bonuses added to their existing benefits. Go ahead and pause if you'd like to read these. Return for honor, hit points +10%. Nice. So for Kislev, the dev note is, with Kislev, our objective for 1.2 was to reassess the performance of their sleds after observing the prior fixes to their charge and mass interactions. CA felt like they were given their excellent kiting abilities, it would be appropriate to tone down their usefulness in melee. So it looks like Kislev is getting a debuff to their sleds, to their cav. So for campaign, when Boris is unlocked, the dilemma offering settlements will now take into account which settlements the player already owns to prevent the display of invalid options. Okay, that's good to know. So let's see here. Increasing armor. So yeah, the heavy ward sled, they're reducing the mass of the unit from 4,100 to 3,100. And reducing the armor piercing weapon damage from 77 to 55. And reducing the range from 140 to 130. So yeah, there's some debuffs there. I think it's still viable to use. It just won't be as crazy. Similar with the light war sled, decreasing the mass by 1,000, decreasing the armor piercing by the same amount, actually 77 to 55, and for the range from 140 to 130. So yeah, they're both getting similar reductions there. Warbear riders are getting a increase in terms of their armor, 95 to 100, and then melee defense 32 to 34. So it's to be a little bit more tanky. That's good to know. More multiplayer things. We got some spell updates. Looks like they have reduced the winds of magic, increased the damage, increased damage. So yeah, it looks like Kislev just got a slight buff to a good amount of magic here. Technology, the Witch Hunter Conclaves corrected a reference to the wrong command in the efficient text. Oh, okay. The following technologies have been changed from the original function. Go ahead and pause if you'd like to read those. And then the technology has noted bonuses added to the existing benefits. Go ahead and pause if you'd like to read all those. All right, for NURGLE, the dev note. With NURGLE, we are making careful tweaks to multiplayer while also giving the Great Uncleaned One the bound spell treatment. The spells you unlock with campaign technologies will also be losing their reliance on the winds of magic, instead providing a single charge to drop during battle. I think this is a bonus, and this is pretty much with all of the great demons. So Korn and Zeech and Slanesh will have their own variants of well, of course. But this is good because you have limited winds of magic, and this kind of increases how many spells you can do now, in my opinion. So this is a bonus, is how I'm viewing this. Units, looks like they have multiplayer cost increase. Kugath now has the Pestilent Decay in multiplayer setting. That's going to be handy. And then reduced cost for Plague Toads and Plague Ridden. Reducing by 50 gold and then reducing it by 150 gold. That's quite a bit. We already read that. For technology, they seem to be putting a lot of things to like 7, which is like Nurgle's number. So that's kind of good for lore reasons. There's some good bonuses here. Nothing kind of strikes me as like, ooh, that's gonna really help me. I do like this ward save plus 7, which is very handy. They'll stay in the battle even longer. And then here, go ahead and pause. I'd like to read all these, but it looks like the technologies have been noted to be added. So this makes me very excited because these will be added to some other bonus. Looks like they're all pretty good. Nothing too crazy. I guess this recruitment cross would be pretty nice because with Nurgle, I'm always low in money with him. So it'd be really nice to get some help there in the money area. So for Ogre Kingdoms, the dev note is CA has been mostly happy with the state of ogres in 1.1. I mean, that makes sense because the ogres have been kind of one of the kind of like easier empires to play as just because of their roster. I'm also a little jealous that they get 2 legendary lords. I would really like to have Nurgle with 2 legendary lords so a friend and I can just go around and take over and put plagues everywhere. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Anyways. They gave giants some missile resistance. That's good. They're still just so slow that they're still going to be pretty weak, but it helps. All right, units. Multiplayer. I'm just going to skim over multiplayer. More missile resistance by plus 15% for giants. That's good. Make them a little bit more viable, but probably still won't get them. Abilities, offers the Great Maw can now be performed by armies at sea. Oh, okay. All right, and then the Over Tyrant's Crown Increase the damage resistant bonus from +5 to +10%. That's nice. Technology, I'll go ahead and pause it here if you want to read it. Looks like very little changes to the ogres because I think their tech tree is pretty strong. So I don't think it's didn't need too much of tweaking, to be honest. Slanesh, the dev note is CA has been happy where Slanesh has landed after update 1.1. So CA is only making careful tweaks to account for the new power level of chariots across the game. Of course, the Keeper's Secrets will be getting balance spells with the single use as well, much like its counterparts with its rosters. Yep. So yeah, they updated the chariots, which really helps Slanesh, and I believe the main thing with Slanesh is that they can vassalize an enemy faction, and an ally will no longer will start a war with you, essentially. So that was kind of another big deterrent from playing as Slanesh, because one of their main campaign features or things that they can do as an empire is basically have other empires join you through temptation, if you will. But if it's causing some other ally to declare war on you, it's not really a net benefit, is it? So having that update really helps Slanesh. Really glad to see that update. Units, skim over multiplayer. Demonettes increase attack by just an extra 2. Okay. A little extra charge bonus for the Hellflares. Yada, yada, yada. A little bit cheaper. Oh, Herald of Slanesh. Steed Mount now deals poison attacks. What are you, Nurgle? Come on. Oh, well. Spawn of Slanesh now enjoys the Sporific Musk melee contact effect. Musk. Oh, man. Keeper's Secret spells are untreated as abilities with 1 use each. No longer requiring Winds of Magic. That is nice. And then this spell, Phantomadora, base version, requires, what is that, 5 less Winds of Magic, and then 3 less Winds of Magic for the Overcast version. That's pretty nice. Technology looks like there's not as many updates for the technology. Go ahead and pause. I like to read here. Nothing jumps out at me as super amazing, but yeah, it's a good update. Zeech. The dev note is Zeech continues to be one of the more powerful factions. Yep, I agree with that. Trying to fight against them as Nurgle was a pain. Oh my goodness, it was difficult. Anyways, thanks to their excellent library of spells and massive amount of warp firepower. With that in mind, we've made several adjustments in 1.2. Naturally, CA couldn't resist giving the Lord of Change the bound spell treatment. Screamers were once the few underwhelming Zeech units, so we're looking to bring them up to par with the rest of the roster in terms of usefulness. Lastly, CA is keeping a critical eye on Blue Horrors and multiplayer with a higher cost, given that they are the most efficient basic infantry in the game currently. For 1.3, CA is discussing whether they will weaken the base unit, less ammunition, while compensating for the loss via skill tree tweaks. Okay, so they'll give the base unit less ammunition, but then you can bring it back up with a either skill tree or like a technology, if you will. Campaign grimoires can no longer be generated by reducing the cost of changing of the way's actions to a negative value. Interesting. Blue Horrors were increased in price. Cultist also increased. Screamers, they increased their armor by 10 and increased their health by, what is that, like 528 or something like that. It's a good amount buff there. Yep, Lord Change, 1 use. We already talked about that. Here's their tech tree update. Go ahead and pause if you'd like to read those. Looks like some good changes there. Then for general updates for the campaign. So when a faction that is in the Chaos Realm is confederated by another faction, They are now expelled from the realm as they are no longer permitted to be in the realm of chaos. Interesting. Fixed an issue where certain legendary lords would lose their immortality when confederated. Huh. I like how I learn of bugs when I read these updates. Fix an issue where an early game mission asks the player to confederate would trigger at the wrong time and unintentionally trigger for the Demon Prince. Fixed an issue where players originally assigned to a team were unassigned if in a multiplayer campaign was resumed at any point without them. Yeah, I really enjoy the multiplayer co-op campaign, but when I play it, it's always with my friend. You know, if I want to play like a single player campaign, I'll just start a new one. Fixed an issue where skill prevents would also include enemy effects. Removed a placeholder tooltip. Okay, that's great. Heroes would repeatedly target settlements of their own race will no longer receive the hates rate trait to their own race. Oh man, okay. Fix an issue where devotion would not always update after existing or exiting the pre-battle screen. Fix an issue where settlement banners would fail to display when load a saved game. Fix an issue where settlements would lose their walls if occupied by Ogre or Norska. Fix an issue where the Ingren port settlement would not transfer ownership properly. Skaven rune walls icon no longer visible. Fix an issue, change view buttons, yada yada yada. I'm just gonna start skimming. There's a lot of things here. Anything interesting? Okay. Added a tooltip. The protection for the realm of chaos. The protection chain of buildings now also provide the rift blocking effect for AI controlled Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2 races. Okay, so we'll probably start to see a few less portals now, thanks to that. Dilemmas, undercover bosses, Grand Cathay fixed an issue where the 50% reduction to recruitment cost would be applied twice to the Terracotta Sentinels and the Wu Chi Compass units. Oh man, that'd be nice. The Terracotta Sentinels are freaking powerhouses in this game. Like seriously, try them out. They're probably the best like single entity monster unit in the game right now. Check them out. Diplomacy fixed an issue where sending a request to an AI player to break one of their alliances would have no effect. Missions. Close a Chaos Rift. This mission will now successfully complete when a rift is closed by a hero. Okay, that's good to know. And then now for the battle-specific changes. General updates. So fix an issue which allow the AI player to ignore deployable cooldowns when defending in battles. Okay. Fixed an issue where tower projectiles would diminish in strength despite having upgraded main cell. I heard about this. It was like you'd have a like level 5 settlement and it was shooting out like projectile from a tier 1 or a tier 3 settlement. So they fixed that, which is good. If you're spending the money, it should have that extra defense. Unbreakable units will no longer rout when all victory points are captured. That's good. You want to have them for that much longer. Updated the deployment zones and reinforced logic lines in subterranean battles. Okay, that's good. I mean, currently you can't play as Skaven, Greenskins, or Dwarves. Their play doesn't happen as much. Only when they attack you that way. Partially fixed issues with Marauder Horsemen would have trouble attacking defensive towers. Fixed an issue which prevented artillery from being recrewed after a machine model was destroyed. Destroyed artillery will no longer lose all its ammunition, thus preventing it from being recrewed and used during battle. Fixed an issue that prevented Kugoth Plaguefather and Soul Grinder units from attacking walls. Okay. I'm not going to read about domination mode. Looks like there was some updates with graphics and multiplayer. All right, yeah, it looks like an overall good fix, or update rather. I would have liked to see some more updates for NURGLE, but that's just me. I'm really looking forward to the Mortal Empires map. All right, well, what did y'all think? Please comment below to let me know, and then also please like and subscribe if you could. And I think I can hear my cat. She wants to come back in. All right, so I'm going to end the video now so I can let my cat in. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.